Good morning or good afternoon, everyone. This is Svetelina from SRT Fairs, and it is my pleasure to welcome you today to our webinar series on American universities in Europe. Buenos dias. How many of you are speaking Spanish as their first language? Let us know in the chat. We are here today with two lovely ladies. American College Dublin will be introduced to you by Sarah Healy. Let's see if Sarah can say hello to us from her camera. And Anglo-American University in Prague, Czech Republic by Jeta Satya. And I hope I pronounced your last name well, Jeta. Wonderful. Today's session will take approximately 1 hour. We will start by presenting the concept of American universities in Europe. And then we will talk about each one of the two universities today. Then we will go back to your questions, which we hope you ask us in the chat, which you can find on the right-hand side of the screen, where you're already saying that a lot of you follow us from Spanish-speaking countries. So that's awesome. I also see Maria from Miami, a very dear friend. Thank you for joining us, Maria. I hope you're all well and safe and you enjoyed today's presentation. We're here for you. Once again, Sarah Nieta, welcome and thank you for being here today with us. The floor is yours.
All right, thank you very much. Good evening, in this case, from Prague, Czech Republic. And thank you for joining us in this information session for the American universities in Europe. As per the introduction, I'm here today with my colleague Sarah from the American College of Dublin in Ireland. And both we will walk you through together with regard to the benefits of studying in Europe and looking at the key characteristics that feature both universities, so that it will give you a sneak peek of life in Europe, but also the benefits as well as the university themselves. We will later on go about speaking about each individually about the universities, so you'll have an idea of what we have to offer. And however, during any point in time, we do encourage you to use the Q&A feature in the chat. Therefore, you could ask your questions, and at the end of the sessions, we will be able to answer one by one live. Now, before we go into details, I would just like to actually thank you again for joining us, and especially during the challenging times that we are facing and we're living nowadays. It's very important that you continue exploring your plans and your dreams and keep going on. Now, European countries itself offer an array of like very strong education system, especially one of the strongest education systems in the world. Therefore, they offer access to a high quality education and, of course, a choice of opportunities outside of the classroom. Dublin, as well as Prague, we both consider ourselves that both the cities are our classroom. So you will not only be sitting in class, learning about theory, learning about the courses that you're taking, but the cities themselves will also be part of the journey that you actually will be learning during your time to either in Dublin or Prague. Studying in Europe will give you much more than a brilliant education. Now, if you are someone who are actually looking to explore the history, the architecture, the culture, or the cuisine, Europe is home to an endless choices. You can immerse yourself into the culture of the local culture of each city, but also you can also learn the local language. Try some Czech, for example. But also thousands of students actually have made their ways into Dublin and Prague. There's a very strong expat community in the both cities. Therefore, it will be an ideal environment for you to immerse yourself, to create a long-lasting friendships which could last lifetime, but also to create global networking opportunities, which later on will be serving in your future careers. Studying in Europe, on top of that, it will allow you to travel throughout the Europe. It will allow you to travel from one European capital to another. Now, with your study visa or your residence permit that you'll be obtaining for studying in each of the countries, it will allow you to travel within the Schengen area, so mostly within the European Union, with that visa. So you do not have to apply for any additional processes or any additional visas, meaning that it will be a very fast process and it will not incur any extra costs. There, in general, it's very well connected in terms of the airfares, the low-cost airfares, but also the railway. So therefore, it will be a lifetime opportunity for you to explore Europe within a short period of time. Let's say, for example, if you're coming just for one semester, or if you're coming for the whole degree, basically, you can do a tour of Europe. I would like to pass the floor to my colleague, Sarah, and Sarah will talk more about the key features of the universities as well. All right. Sarah, I don't think we can hear you. Yeah.
So, although our two universities are independent of each other, we do find that we share plenty of characteristics that make our schools as incredible as they are. So, just to quickly go over them, they're both accredited in America. They feature small class sizes, which also fosters a very close-knit community, which then leads to a very personalized approach of teaching that you'll receive at the schools. Furthermore, we both have an extremely diverse student population, which can also lead to, as Jette mentioned, a variety of different study abroad opportunities from Prague or Dublin. So first, both of our schools are American accredited, which means that the degree you would get at either of these schools is parallel to a degree that you would receive from any American college. So that is a great opportunity to be able to study outside of the country, but still be able to have a degree that rivals or is on par with any other American schools. Next is the small class size. So what we use is the Socratic method. So we want a lot of interaction between students and professors, discussion, debate, anything like that to really engage the students as much as possible. This also helps with student and professor relationships, so there's not much of a wall between them, which furthermore fosters a more inclusive and engaging education process. And that also speaks on the close-knit community. There's always going to be people willing to help you out or show you around the city or be able to provide you with anything that you really need to make the education as wholesome and well-rounded as possible. Because that, in the end, is really what we want. We want you to be in the classroom and be able to learn and experience also outside of the classroom. So both of our universities have an extremely diverse student population, grasping from almost every corner of the globe. So that is an opportunity that it just can't go, you can't not take advantage of it, because it gives you so many different perspectives on the world and theories and material that you'll be learning in the classroom. Not only that, you know, you can be talking to someone from anywhere in the world and say, oh, do you want to come here? Do you want to go here? Do you want to go to London for the weekend? You know, there's so many opportunities that you can get and so many more places to see and people to speak to through studying abroad and, you know, expanding your bubble and just opening so many doors for yourself as a student. So I guess we'll move on.
So it's me once again. For those who just actually joined us in the session, welcome once again. And I'm Jette. I'm the Director of Admissions here at the Anglo-American University in Prague in the Czech Republic. So hello, welcome. Thank you. Just basically to give you an idea, AAU is located in Prague in the Czech Republic in Central Europe, and the campus itself is located right next to the Charles Bridge, which you can see in the lower left corner of the picture of the slide, and right in the next steps of the Prague Castle, which is one of the largest castles in Europe, actually. and it's basically right next to the AAU. The Prague itself, the city is known to be the city of 100 spires, as well as the Golden City. It's very small when you compare to other European capitals, for example, like London, but it offers everything that big European cities actually offer, yet in a very organized way. It's very well connected with the rest of Europe. I cannot stress this feature as much as I can, but which makes it very affordable at the same time. Now, one would think, why would you choose Prague to study when you have so many options? Now, Prague itself, it's one of the top 10 best student cities in the world. Now, with this being said, the first actually university ever founded in the Central Europe was actually founded in Prague in 1348. And since then, Prague has remained and kept and maintained that student-oriented focus vibe in itself. We also have the 5th best public transportation in the world. So no matter actually where you are in the city, whether you are in the one corner or the other corner of the city, it's very well connected with a metro system, with the buses, trams, and buses. So technically, wherever you are, you can get from one corner to the other. It's very cheap, especially for students with the student discounts, and it's very quick and it's very reliable. AAU itself is actually located right in the Green Line, and you can get anywhere basically with the Green Line. Currently, the Czech Republic has the lowest unemployment rate in the European Union. Actually, in January, it was around 2%, and meaning that there are a lot of job opportunities for especially English-speaking labor. So if you decide to come to Prague, you would be at an edge and you would actually have a kickstart ahead of everyone else, just thinking that you actually speak English. Now, again, I will cover this a little bit later in detail, but with your student visa that you'd have to actually obtain before coming, you would be allowed to work in Prague. It is the 6th safest city in the world. You can walk around without any problems, basically. Even during the night, at any point in time of the day, in any corners of the city, it's very safe. The crime rate is very low, and there is no such as neighborhood like as the neighborhoods which you should not go or not be unattended. It's completely safe. Now, one thing also, Prague is very affordable. Now, there are a lot of beautiful international capitals, especially in Europe, that are very beautiful, but they're not attainable beyond a couple of days. Prague is not one of them. It's very economic friendly and a very budget friendly. A steak dinner for $8, or you can go to a museum for $6. So that's very, very attainable, and basically no matter what you decide to do, you can do it here in any budget. It's just a matter of planning, and also with your student card that you would obtain at the start of the semester, you have huge discounts around the city as well, especially also including the transportation around Europe as well. Now, to give you more of an idea of who AAU is or what we have to offer as a university, first of all, I would like to note that we are a very international university. We do have students coming from 80 different nationalities or countries in the campus. Therefore, you'd hear an array of languages spoken. However, all the classes and all the teaching is done completely in English. We do mostly have students from the United States. We also have students from Europe as well as from post-Soviet countries. We have from Argentina, from Ecuador. We also have a lot of students as well. We are very interactive, and we do have a very applied learning in terms that theory is always blended with practice. If you're taking a business class, there is always going to be a case study that you have to solve yourself coming from the real world. Law classes, for example, always real life cases. So the students get an understanding of the actual events that are happening around the world, as well as getting a kickstart ahead of time on when it comes to practice. Throughout the semester, you will be engaging in group projects the whole time. So you will basically be also studying outside of the classroom, doing your own research, and you will be working in groups. We offer small class sizes. Now, we are a small university technically, and the classes, that number of people that you'd have in a class is between 15 up to 25 maximum. Now, there are also classes, for example, that you'll only have 5 people in the classroom. This is done on purpose to have a very personalized approach. You'd get to know your professors, you'd get to know your peers, so everyone basically is very interactive. And last but not least, one of the key features is the accreditation. We hold both the Czech accreditation by the Ministry of Education in the Czech Republic, meaning that your degree would be recognized in the entire Europe, but we also hold the American accreditation coming from directly from WASC Senior College and University Accreditation, which is an accreditation agency based in California, and only 11 universities actually have it. So it's very prestigious. And at the end, the diploma that you would receive, it will qualify with both accreditation and it would be recognized in both continents. With this being said, means that we have to uphold the double standards of the Czech Republic as well as the US standards. So it's a very high qualitative degree. Now, AU, as I said, it's not a big university, and we're very proud of it, actually. We do treat our students as family members, and the staff gets to know the students. We actually know, like, most of the students by the first name. So it's very, very engaging atmosphere. We are a liberal arts university, so you would have choices in humanities, social sciences, natural sciences, and arts. We do have the School of Business, which is actually our largest school in the building, actually, in the university. So mainly offers, like, you can expect to have knowledge in the business world, the organizational theory, principles, as well as work independently in teams in multicultural environments. We have the School of Humanities and Social Sciences, which has a number of different classes that students can really get an understanding in the field, basically, and mostly look at classes in anthropology, sociology, psychology, so sort of have a good understanding of where the humankind has come from. And mostly the students from humanities field go on and work in the field of politics or education. Now, this is an ideal degree if you're looking to do like postgraduate studies or even obtaining a PhD level, because it fully prepares you to actually build knowledge on especially conducting research. We do have the School of International Relations. It's actually the fastest growing school in our university. And it's wonderful because we are located in a major international European capital, but also the university itself, it's very international. So it's an ideal way to actually learn the field. We also have the School of Journalism and Media and Visual Arts. Now, the School of Journalism and Visual Media Arts is actually focused on where we're going rather than where have we been in the past. The school itself plays close attention to preparing students in understanding a mix of political, economic, and social systems, so that they actually basically have a broad understanding and connect the fields with the news media itself. Last but not least, there is the School of John Kerry School of Law, which actually embraces common law applied in England and Wales. And it applies a very personalized classroom approaches. This is where you'd have actually 5 people in a classroom. And it's important to note that if you decide to pursue a degree in law, it will be completely taught by the University of London. AU serves as a teaching center here, but you would actually attend the materials and have access completely to the resources of the University of London. And a diploma that you receive, it's from the University of London, just for a fraction of a cost of what you would study in UK or in the US. Starting from next year, from fall 2021, we actually are going to start as well with a global degree program, which is a partnership with the Kent State University in Ohio. It will basically provide high quality degree with the opportunity to study in an international university in Europe, as well as one of the top universities in the US. Now, this program, it will be mainly a computer sciences program where you'd have to study computer science as a BS or a BA, as well as the emerging media and technology in BS. For this, bear in mind, there is 2 years in Prague, so you do the first 2 year courses in Prague and then the last 2 years at Kent State in the US. Now, just to give you a little bit of more about the programs and the courses that you could choose. So if you decide to study business, for example, you would take a degree or you would declare your major in the business administration, and then you can also pick concentrations and minors. Now, we have an array of concentrations where you could choose from. For example, you could choose entrepreneurship, people management, economics and finance, accounting, or marketing. For a detailed list of all the concentrations which you can pick, you can always email admissions@aauni.edu. But then, for example, on top of the concentrations, you can also pick a minor in international relations, or you could go with a third option, picking an extended major where you pick the core courses and then combine and build sort of a study plan for yourself with the classes that mostly interest you. The same applies for humanities, for journalism and international relations. For humanities, you're looking more into the concentrations in humanities, society and culture, politics, as well as for example, psychology, politics, Jewish studies, language studies, Central European studies. For international relations, again, it's an ideal degree if you're looking more into building knowledge for IR theories, for analyzing empirical evidence, and understanding history of itself. If you like history, this would be ideal for you. And then for concentrations, you'd pick European studies, security studies, human rights, international affairs. Now, for journalism, as I said, this is like where technology, languages, and culture emerge together because students are actively taught on exercises in reporting, editorial design, as well as like video editing, production, digital photography. When it comes to the law program specifically, there's two pathways for it. It's the Certificate of Higher Education in the Common Law, and then the entry route in the Bachelor of Law program. Now, the certificate itself is a foundation course that will actually it's a slower pace of starting your courses and building more on your writing and vocabulary skills. So it's a foundation to the LLB program. The LLB program, on the other hand, as I said, it's a teaching program for the common law, and it mainly focuses on criminal law, public law, contract law. So you take an array of courses that will prepare you for that. Now, I want to highlight it here of students applying for the Bachelor of Law for this year, for the fall 2020, they are eligible for the Veradi Scholarship. Now, the scholarship is offered to everyone applying for the LLB. You would apply for it at the application level, and it will cover, should you be accepted for it, it will cover the University of London tuition fees completely. For this degree, you'd have to pay tuition for AAU as well as towards the University of London. So if you get the scholarship, you'd pay completely the University of London tuition off. It's an ideal way for studying the program at the fraction of a cost for what you would study in the UK or in the US. No matter what program you choose, no matter what school you actually start or belong to, the learning environment itself, it's very small classes. It's a very personalized approach. It's heavily based on discussion, but also the faculty as well. It's also very diverse as the student body. Now, for students, we have students mostly from the United States, Czech Republic, post-Soviet Union countries. However, it's the same for the faculty as well. We do have faculty from Australia, Czech Republic, Italy, so UK. So it's a very diverse environment where you would actually be in interacting. This is just a few pictures of the campus itself. So you'll see the library, a classroom, the park, as well the hallways. Now, the AAU building is a 17th century palace. So it's located in the old town of the Prague, and you can actually see the castle while you walk in the office or in the classrooms. We do have 17 modern equipped classrooms, so you don't have to go from one campus to another. Everything is located in one place. And the premises also have the cafeteria for students, of course, the student lounge, which also has a gaming center for students in the free tent that they have. Now, there's also the computer lab, and there is the library. The library houses the largest English collection of books in the Czech Republic. And one important note is that the books, you do not have to pay anything for the books. So everything is included in tuition, and you can borrow the books for free. You just need to show your transcript or your student card, and then for a period of time, you can borrow the books. Now, no matter what actually you will be studying, during your time at AAU, you'll have access to an array of resources, and that including the Academic Tutoring Center. For example, if you need help in writing or vocabulary, or actually on the citations, that's a very common actually source that students use, you can book a session at the Academic Tutoring Center for half an hour or longer, and all the sessions are held at the library. You'd have access to the Career Center. Oops. Okay, so you'd have access to the Career Center. The Career Center will actually help you figure out how to get a job. Now, they will also organize professional workshops that, for example, will prepare you how to write a CV, how to build your cover letter, how to present an interview. They also organize a career expo every semester, where companies, international companies, come to campus and talk to our students basically and recruit. There is the Lennon Wall and the Soundsbreak Radio. This is the student magazine and student radio, completely run by the students. It's a very useful resource for students, especially in the Department of Journalism as well as Visual Arts. However, it's open to the whole community and everyone can have access to it. So if you look in our website, there is the access to both to the radio as well as to the magazine, and it's actually run from 2000s. And the radio broadcast 24/7 program. There is also the Student Services Center. So if you need any help with the official documents, or as a matter of fact, if you actually just need an appointment at the immigration office to extend your visa, my colleagues will be able to actually make the appointment on your behalf, speaking Czech. There is the psychological counseling, which is available for free to all AEU students, faculty, and staff throughout the semester and the year. And it provides psychological counseling services completely confidential. Last but not least, there is a study abroad. Now, for many of you, I understand that this will be your study abroad experience. However, we do have partnerships with 40 universities around the world. Therefore, you can actually go into a semester up to a year abroad. Very famous for our students is actually South Korea. And then we have partnerships in Australia, New Zealand, and then within Europe into Spain, UK, Italy, and Netherlands. These are also some of the key events that happen. Professors in the Pub, it's just one of the most famous events that happens. So professors and students meet in the student cafe in the upper corner of the slide, you can see. They meet together once a month, actually, and discuss something that's happening current in the world. For example, we picked the Me Too movement, the Bitcoin, for example, Trump politics, Czech elections, populism, and they discuss everything in a friendly environment through the academic lens. It's an ideal event to actually speak your mind, but also hear others sharing their ideas. There is the events, there is everything basically happening there. You also have the clubs that you could join. This is a list of active clubs that are currently in the campus. However, if there is a club, if there is a field that actually interests you very much, you can always find your own club and become the president of your own club. Now, just a little bit about the tuition. So the program, the bachelor programs at AAU are 3 years. So for the whole program itself, for the 3-year program, the tuition is around $21,000, depends on the exchange rate. And per semester, it would be around $3,800. Of course, you don't have to pay the whole amount at once, but you can also split it, like you pay the first semester and then you can split it in installments. AAU offers its own housing. Now, while it's not mandatory for students to stay in the housing for the semester or for the first semester or any of the semesters, I strongly recommend it. It's a very good way to give you a start in the city, let you know basically, or get accustomed to the city, and then actually you can move out and find your own private apartment if you wish. The AAU residences actually are very close to the campus, only 20 minutes from the campus, and they are located in a very hipster neighborhood, which according to The Guardian was actually one of the top 10 coolest neighborhoods in Europe. They are modern, fully equipped with everything with the Wi-Fi, but they also have 24/7 security. So the area is completely protected and you'd have reception for any requests that you might have. You can book the booking. It's available as of now, since we're still accepting applications for the fall 2020, but there is always limited capacity. So we always recommend students to book as early as possible in advance. Now, before we wrap up, there's just the cost of living, which for Prague, as I said, it's a very affordable city. So you're looking at around $800 to $1,000 per month. And this, of course, includes the meals, the accommodation, public transportation, and entertainment. If you are actually saving money, preparing your own food, and like saving on shopping, you can even pull it off for less than this. There is always part-time jobs that you could take. Now, with your student visa, as I said, you can work in Prague. It's important that you maintain your purpose of stay, which you come, for example, for study, and then you can do the side job. There's always jobs available in campus, for example, in the library, in the reception, the cafe, printing center. So you can always do that. Just a sneak peek of how to apply. So first you choose your program, obviously. There is an application form. You fill the application form. It's a straightforward form, 7 steps asking for your program, semester, personal details, education. The application fee is around $80, depends on the exchange rate again. And you submit the required document. Now, we do not require SATs or ACTs. However, we do require the English proficiency test, and the most famous ones that students use are the TOEFL or the IELTS. After you submit the documents along with your CV, the personal statement, the high school diploma, and transcript, you will be invited for an online interview, in this case, with the dean of the school that you are applying. The whole process itself takes around 2 weeks to get the final decision from the day that you submit your documents. We have rolling admission, so we're still taking applications for the fall 2020. With this being said, we have the spring semester that we take applications, starts in February, and then for the fall 2021, the application process is open. Now, before I wrap up the whole presentation, I would actually like to give you an important last few words update summing up the COVID-19 situation in the Prague in Czech Republic. Now, thankfully, the situation has improved a lot in our country, and I would almost dare to say that we are almost back to normal. The state of emergency has been terminated. Kids are on the way back to school. Stores are open, restaurants are open, and even the presence of students actually in campus is allowed in groups of 5. EU citizens from specific countries can even enter the country now without the COVID test. However, there is still residents for the third country, actually citizens. There is still much hope that by the fall 2020, they will also be allowed to enter the country. A lot of embassies are actually now from the Czech Republic are opening their branches. So the visa process for students is also being resumed. However, since there's still so much uncertainty in place, we have decided to take two actions about this for the fall 2020 plan. So first of all, we have compressed the semester into a shorter period of time. So we will run it for 12 weeks instead of 16. So it will be from September 21st to December 16th. So those of you who are planning to come to Prague, you can always come in a short-term visa and then apply from any embassy within the Europe, basically, since you cannot apply from Prague, but you need to go to Vienna or Berlin and apply for the study visa. This is the first option. And the second option is the virtual online classes. There will be virtual online classes for those who cannot physically come to campus. So, and of course, parallel to this, there will also be the physical classes, which will take place in campus for those that are allowed to travel or can make it to the campus. So these are the two options that will be available. And if you have any questions, again, I would welcome to actually include us, email us, and we would be happy to answer anything. I will now pass the floor to my colleague, Sarah, to walk you on about the American College in Dublin.
Thank you so much, Jette, for your presentation. And now Sarah will join us to cover the important aspects of American College Dublin. In the meantime, I would like to thank everyone for being so active in the chat. We have quite a lot of questions to answer afterwards. So do stay with us through this presentation, and we'll get back to everyone. Some of you asked a few questions that were already answered at the beginning, so we do believe you joined later. So we'll definitely get back to you regardless. Sarah, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Good morning, afternoon, everyone. I'm in the US in Pennsylvania, so I still have some light. But today I will be speaking with you about the American College of Dublin. I am an admissions recruiter for the school in the United States. So today I just wanted to go over what I'll be speaking with you all about in this presentation. So I will be speaking about American College of Dublin as a whole and what makes it so special. Some of our faculty and staff that you would see on a day-to-day basis in the halls of the American College of Dublin, the courses and majors that we offer, what the admissions and application process looks like, the tuition, and the average cost of living in Dublin. So right here you can see St. Anne Street. This is a pretty standard street in Dublin. There's a lot going on, restaurants, pubs, stores. You can always find something to do. And at the end of the street, you can see a church, and that is St. Anne's Church, which is where American College of Dublin and many universities in Dublin actually host their formal graduation ceremonies. So that is something that you can look forward to a little further down the road. So what makes our university? First is the fact that it is dually accredited. So it's an Irish American university. The Socratic lectures that we offer, the urban society that ACD is located, and the history in which you will be studying in the building. So what makes it an Irish American university is the dual accreditation. So we uphold the standards of accrediting bodies from Ireland and the United States through the Quality and Qualifications Ireland and the Middle States Commission on Higher Education. What this means is that you as a student can really choose the path that you want to take and what fits you the best as a student and person. So through the QQI, you will be able to receive a degree and in 3 years. So what makes that difference from the Middle States degree is that there's not another year of general education classes. You go in, you know what you want to study and major in, and you do that in 3 years. So the Middle States, you would do the standard American pathway through college, which is 4 years. So you would take all the classes that are required in your major, and then also a year of general education classes, something to really round out your degree. But it really just gives you an opportunity to pick the path that best suits you as a student. Next is our small, very interactive classes. You really will not see a classroom with more than 20 students, which again, it really facilitates an interactive experience with discussion, debate, and of course, a sprinkle of Irish wit. So I actually was lucky enough to sit in on a performance arts class, and what I noticed was so much interaction and engagement with the students. There was a plenty of multimedia used within the classroom, so it wasn't dry. There was always something going on to engage the class. There were often many student breakout groups, so they would go into smaller groups and be able to discuss further, share their opinions, their perspectives, and then bring their thoughts to the larger classroom, which is really special because it just provides more of an opportunity to learn about different people's perspectives, if you weren't able to in the larger group discussion. So ACD is located in the heart of Dublin. It is an amazing location surrounded by so many different things to explore and so many reasons to adventure out into the city. We at ACD, we understand that learning theory and different ideas in textbooks is important so you have a basis for your knowledge. But what we really aim to do is provide a wholesome, well-rounded education. So on one side of the spectrum, you have all the information in the textbooks that you are learning, but on the other end of the spectrum, we want you to see those things in real life. We want you to see the museums, walk through the parks, see the famous Trinity Library, everything like that, so you get the full picture of what you're learning in the classroom. And we really want you to take advantage of that because it's a whole nother side of the learning process. Next is the history that our building is really rooted in. So our address is 1 Marion Square, and that address was Oscar Wilde's childhood home. His father, Sir William Wilde, used the house as his surgery home. So there's so much history already rooted in the building. As you can see in the bottom right image is one of our students with a statue of Oscar Wilde, which is right across the street from the building. And you can see on the left side is a group of students in the welcoming hall of ACD. And all of that stained glass is original to the home many years ago. So you can see that ACD is really dedicated and engaged in the history in which they're so lucky to be able to house you students and teach you all the history and culture that that building has actually already seen. And a lot of it happened there probably. So that's just another aspect on how ACD has so much to offer based on history, culture, and so many things for you to explore. Next is our administration. So it is based on the Caltech model. So it's very small by design with an emphasis on reducing bureaucracy. What this means is that we operate on an open door policy. We want to break down the barrier between students and professors to, like I said before, give that personalized education. Like I said, we want to create a very well-rounded, encouraging environment for our students, and this is one of the ways in which we do it. So this is Rory. He is our VP and academic dean, and he has provided us with a quote. So ACD has provided an outstanding, personalized, interactive, and relevant learning experience to domestic and international students in the heart of Dublin for over 25 years. And our alumni have gone on to a range of accomplishments in further education, careers, and their personal lives. So what Rory has said, summed up in one sentence, is really our mission and what we aim to do. We want to provide you with the most well-rounded, wholesome education that we possibly can to set you off on the right foot post-grad. And he really has summed that up in one sentence. So thank you, Rory. So next I'll be going over the courses and majors that are offered at the American College of Dublin. So here are our undergrad programs. So the 3-year Bachelor Honors Program would be through the Quality and Qualifications of Ireland. Like I mentioned before, you'll go in knowing that you want to get a degree in international business or liberal arts. You will do it in 3 years and graduate with a degree. Now, on the other side is our 4-year bachelor programs, which include international business, hospitality management, event management, a liberal arts major specializing in English, history, Irish studies, or American studies, and then a 4-year BFA in musical theater, performance, and creative writing, which are all bolstered by plenty of peer work and a lot of workshopping with peers and professors. Here is just one of the beautiful landscapes of Dublin, and kind of gives you an insight of Ireland and all the different landscapes and places that you can discover outside of the classroom. So next is the master's programs that we offer. So we find that a lot of our students will come and get their undergraduate degree and stay on for another year, so that at the end of their time at ACD, they're leaving with a master's, whether that be in 4 years or 5 years, respective of the path you take in your undergrad career. So we have an MB and MBA in international business and oil and gas management, and then a 1-year MFA in creative writing, performance, fashion design, music for motion picture and contemporary media, which would be taken at a satellite campus in Bulgaria, and then a 1-year MS in performance coaching. So a little background on our admissions and the process that you would take. So ACD truly welcomes applicants from every corner of the globe. And because of this, we can't necessarily rely on a single metric for admission, which means that we really want to get to know you as a student and what you want to do with your time at ACD. We want to know what you've done, what you aim to do, your hopes, dreams, anything like that, so we can figure out the best fit for you at the school and how to start paving that path for you so it is the most advantageous experience for you. So what's required is a minimum of 2.0 GPA verified by a transcript. Or for some of you that might be a little older or are transferring, it would be a resume and any previous third-level transcripts for mature students or transfer students, like I'm saying. Next would be a personal statement or a cover letter that describes why you would like to study your chosen area at ACD. So like I said earlier, all we want to do is get to know you as a student and as a person. And then these next items are optional. They won't hurt your application, but like I said, anything to round you out as a student for us to get to know you better will help, of course. So a resume, SAT or ACT test scores, AP test scores, any recognition or awards that you've received in your past, or any publications that you've written. So you can see here is the street in Dublin. There's always people walking about, entertainment. There's always something you can find on the streets of Dublin. You will turn a corner and you will be shocked and amazed by what you find next. So the tuition fees for our undergrad tuition for non-European students is 9,000 euros, which is right now, depending on the back and forth, it is around 10,000 American dollars. And then for the BFA in musical theater or performance arts, it would be 9,500 euro, which comes about to 10,700 US dollars. The reason that the BFA is a little bit more expensive than the non-BFA is because of the different facilities that they use and different material that they need. So this is the Trinity rugby team. ACD is right around the corner from Trinity, just a 5-minute walk. And we find that a lot of our students will partake in Trinity's clubs and sporting events because Dublin really is one big community and everyone is willing to include everyone else just as long as everyone has a good attitude and is having fun. So next I will be talking about the cost of living. So the estimated living cost for 2 semesters, this is excluding tuition, is about 10 to 12,000 euro. And that's including accommodation, living expenses, books, a student visa. And this figure really is an estimate, as there are different spending habits from student to student. But we find from our students that we've had in the past, this is pretty much the average number that you will be looking at. So I hope to hear some questions from you all. Me and Oscar would love to hear them. Thank you very much.
Sarah. I would
Thank
like
you.
to invite Yetta back now, as we are going to proceed to our Q&A session. I believe you had some time to take a look at the questions, but just to give our audience one last chance to ask us a question, we will see once again the videos of both universities, and then we will start answering. So stay with us for a couple of more minutes, and we'll get back to answering to everyone. Thanks. I don't know about you, but I really like that music from Dublin's video. So here comes the first question. It was asked quite a few times because our audience is coming mainly from Latin America and the US. Sarah, Yetta, could you repeat some of your main fees in US dollars, because not everyone is familiar with euro? Tuition, accommodation, and specify if those are per year or per semester, please. Thanks.
Yeah, so I think, yeah, I can, yeah, I'm unmuted. Yes, when it comes to the tuition for the bachelor program for the 3 years, it sums up to $20,000. Now it depends on the exchange rate. So it's roughly around 6,000, a little bit more than $6,000 per year. That's for the tuition. So you're looking at 3 years program. So roughly around that. And then for the accommodation, it's around $550 per month, sorry. So that's per month. And we have the same fees. So it's same for international students or students coming from the Czech Republic. So it's universal for everyone.
Right. So whether students are here from Europe or overseas, the same fees would apply both for tuition and accommodation. That's very important. Thank you so much. How about you, Sarah?
So for the undergrad, the normal undergrad, it would be about $10,200. And then, as I mentioned, for the Bachelor of Fine Arts, the BFA, it would be $10,700 just because of the different facilities and material that they need for their designated major. And then we estimate that it's about $13,000 just for living expenses, and that would be for the year.
Per year.
Yes.
Okay. What about the summer break when students go back to their countries for the summer vacation? Do they lose their accommodation? Do they have to apply again? How does that work?
So technically, even for the winter, because we do have a long winter break. So when you finish your studies actually in December, you don't come back until the beginning of February. So even for that period of time, students technically can stay in the campus, in the dormitories, and it applies also for the summer period. But they have to let for the summer they have to let them know in advance, the housing office. But for the winter, they don't have to let anyone know. Basically, they can stay for the whole period, and they don't have to move out their belongings.
Great.
So similar at ACD, there are many different housing options. So one of them is strictly relationship with ACD. So it's essentially school housing. For summer breaks, you would move out. But for the whole school year, your stuff is safe and there's always someone there and watching and things along those lines.
Great. And you're also so close to other European countries. So I believe most students coming from that far would actually enjoy the summer traveling around. So do get some ideas. Great. Let's proceed to the next question. The prices, are they different for international students and EU students? Actually, sorry, we already covered that one. Okay, a question that was asked a couple of times. Does anyone offer master in food sciences? Very specific one.
I know, sadly, we don't.
Okay, well, to that student who sent us that question, check out the rest of our webinars. We'll share a button in a few moments, and maybe one of the next presenters will have one of those programs. That's really a very specific one, which I would also be interested in. Okay, what about music production engineering and audio visual production or communication?
Yeah, for engineering as well, we don't offer any programs, but for the audio and visual production, we don't have a specific major or concentration on it. But within the School of Journalism, actually, you get to take classes, for example, in digital audio tools, digital photography, or basically like the news or broadcast news and video production. So while you can technically take classes that are pertaining to that field, there is not a specific degree designed completely for it.
Okay, thank you. And Sarah, in your case?
Similarly,
majors.
Yeah, no engineering. We do have that music for motion picture and contemporary media in Bulgaria. I don't know if that is something the student would be interested in.
I'm smiling because I'm from Bulgaria and I actually popped a question in the chat. If everyone knows where it is. There's also a few questions in the chat, by the way. If you would like Yetta and Sarah to get in touch with you, please make sure you answer with yes or sure to those questions. Otherwise, there's no way they can send you more information. So sorry, I interrupted you, Sarah.
No, it's okay.
Okay. Also, dentistry is a program that was requested. No. All right. We have shared with you guys the prospectuses of both universities, so you can actually see all the program listing, all the majors and minors they offer. Next ones in focus were prosthetics. That's also in the health sciences. Okay. Career in arts. So we had really specific program questions today.
Yeah, for the arts program, actually, we do offer the visual arts, technically, the program, and then within the visual arts program, you can focus on 3 different areas of concentration. So you can technically take art history and art theory, and then art management and curatorial studies, as well as studio art options from painting, photography, sculpture, and conceptual and cross-media arts. So if someone is interested in the visual arts, technically, they can look into this option of study when it comes to the AAU offer.
Out section on the right hand side of your screen, both prospectuses. Sarah.
Yeah.
And similarly, our BFA, we have musical theater, performance, and creative writing. So that's what we have for the arts.
Have some positive replies too.
Yeah.
There's a lot of options. Like liberal arts is a huge, how do you say it in English? In Spanish,
Yeah.
it's abanico of opportunities. So I'm sure, guys, if you go and see all the options that you can do within 3 or 4 years, you'll be surprised. Just some programs that are really specific are probably not a good idea to look for liberal arts university in general. Next questions are curriculum specifics, and I have one on would I be rather eligible with A-levels or IGCSE for scholarship? So would that be considered a benefit when applying to your universities if someone has followed the British national curriculum?
For AAUs, so technically we do accept A-levels as an equivalent of the diploma. In this case, of the high school diploma, you'd have to have minimum 3 A-levels for acceptance. And yes, it would actually qualify you for scholarship. However, here I would just like to explain a little bit more further. So we do not give scholarships at the entry point when you actually. However, the merit-based scholarship will be distributed to students after the first semester at AAU. So you'd have to complete 5 courses, and depending on your the GPA, the general point average that you received during your first semester, you would be qualified for the merit-based scholarship for the second semester. Now, if your GPA is 4.0, you'd receive 100% tuition waiver. If it's 3.9 and less than that, depending on the range, it goes to 50%. One key feature is that you do not have to apply for it. It is automatically distributed to students by the finance office. So there is no application process. When it comes to the IGCSEs, we actually do not accept IGCSEs as an entry point or an equivalent to the high school diploma. You would have to have IGCSEs and A-levels, a combination of the both. But for the IGCSEs, you only can apply for the certificate level for the bachelor for the law program, but not for the other programs.
And Sarah, in your case, do you put different importance on the British national curriculum when considering a possible application for scholarship?
Not necessarily. Like I said, we are more interested in seeing who you are as a student, what you've accomplished, what you're looking forward to at your time at ACD, and how you'll take advantage of the opportunities there. So as long as you can express yourself as a student through your application, that's all we want to see.
Okay, well, I believe that would also answer the IB question, if an IB diploma would give a benefit when applying. And I think here it's really important to mention that when asking for a scholarship, really, the university wants to know who you are, what do you want to study, how can you contribute to the community, and then after, if you're admissible, it's the right moment to ask for a scholarship. Universities don't just give scholarships because you have asked them in advance and they don't know who they're speaking with. So everyone interested in a scholarship opportunity, the first step would be to get in touch with Sarah and Jetta and start talking about what you actually want to study to go in further detail. I believe these are all the questions asked today. There was one very specific asked to to Jette that I would like to wrap up today's session with. And it was related to the Ohio 2 years stay. Jette, you answered that in the chat, but would you like to elaborate that so that everyone can hear, please? Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you. So it's actually, thank you for asking this question. So it's the new program we're starting with the Kent State University in Ohio. We have been long-term partners with the Kent State when it comes to the study abroad programs, and every semester we welcome minimum 10 students from Kent State University. From the fall 2021, from next September, actually, we are going to start with a computer sciences program, which is technically you can get a Bachelor of Science or Bachelor of Arts, depending on your choices. 2 years, you would be taking more of a general education courses in Prague at AAU. So basically the English, the math heavy courses you would complete at AAU. And then after 2 years, you would transition into the Kent in Ohio, technically, and you would complete the rest of the courses depending on the chosen major at Kent. Now, there is always going to be a smooth transitioning between the universities, and the diploma that at the end of the day that you receive is issued directly from the Kent State University in Ohio. But if you have any questions, feel free to email me. The admissions counselors and I are available, and we can even set up an individual Skype or Zoom call, and we can discuss the program in detail.
So we'll answer them too. I believe Jette mentioned that you had rolling admissions. Do you both have rolling admissions?
Yes.
Okay, can you just for everyone who joined probably later, which would be your starting dates in both cases? Sarah, when would you usually start each semester?
So we would start each semester in the beginning of September. We would accept applications through August. Because of Ireland and the way they operate, that's why we are able to provide rolling admission, which is a great opportunity for students, and especially in a time of uncertainty.
But you would only start in September. You wouldn't start the academic year, say, in January.
So students could study abroad for like a semester and start in January, if that answers any questions.
I believe that question comes from some Central American students who would finish when it's winter for us, their high school. So they would be looking into starting in January the year after their first year at university. I believe that's why this question came a few times.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If that student wants to reach out to me, I can provide them with some more information, and we can have a discussion about what that would look like for them and for us.
Great. We have shared Sarah and Jette's emails in the chat, so you can get in touch with them, whoever is interested in that question. And this would be the last one. Do you accept students who have 11 years at school, who have finished 11th grade in their country, not 12, as we would be used to in Europe?
So, for AAU, technically is that for as long as the diploma that actually you are completing in your home country is recognized in your home country, and it would qualify you to study in your home country at your local universities, that is acceptable for us. I believe also in Ukraine they have the same.
Ukraine, Kazakhstan,
exactly.
Azerbaijan as well.
Mm-hmm.
Quite a few countries.
They have it, yeah, exactly. So for us, we do have a lot of students actually coming with the 11th grade because the system equals out. So I believe it was Angela in this case. Yes, you can apply. We would make a preliminary assessment of the equivalency of the systems of the education. But in the past, we have had students doing this, and it has been absolutely fine. And if I just may go back to Elena's question when it comes to the starting the degree in January, for AAU, actually, we do accept the applications throughout the year. So the application now for the fall semester for this September is open, but also for the spring semester it's open. So for the fall, we usually, in normal circumstances, start the semester in end of August, 29th, 30th of August. And then for the spring semester, we start classes in February. Now, for this upcoming spring, if Elena is interested, you can start your application now, and you can start your courses on on February 7th. So that would be the path that you would choose in this case.
Great. I would love to keep asking more questions because now now I want to pack my bags and go. One semester to each one of you, but I'm afraid we have to wrap for today. I've seen a few counselors joining us, and we would like to let them go back to class. So thank you so much for joining us tonight. For us, it's tonight. For Sarah, it's still daylight, but we've had quite a mixed audience from all over. So thanks everyone for joining. Last reminder to, if you haven't answered in our poll, if you would like to receive more information from our presenters today, download their brochure from the handout section. I have a problem with those two words. And do see your email tomorrow. You'll receive a recording of today's webinar. Once again, it was a pleasure to welcome today our two wonderful presenters. And we're saying goodbye from 3 different countries tonight. Thank you for watching.